Hello, this is Dr. Jeanette Raymond, psychologist, psychotherapist, and relationship expert, here with my next video on power differentials between couples. And today I'm going to talk about the power that comes in trading shame, passing the shame between one and the other, using shame as the currency of power. So the couple I'm going to talk to you about are called Owen and Esmeralda, Esme for short. So Owen is a mid-40s, his wife is similar age, they already have 2 children, and she's not so keen on having regular sex spontaneously. She prefers to plan it. She feels she has to maintain sexual relations with her husband, otherwise he might go and have an affair, or worse, she might not be doing her wifely duty, and that would be shameful because she's not doing her part in maintaining the intimacy or sexual intimacy in the relationship, and so she'd be betraying her. So that was shameful to her. And it was also shameful to her on another level that she didn't have the same libido that she did when they were courting. It sort of disappeared almost as soon as they got married, well before they had their first child. And she never really recovered it. It was a duty. She didn't get much pleasure from it. She put up with it and gave it as a kind of reward, or here's what I have to do, so don't ask me for more. So she was already feeling ashamed that she wasn't enjoying it, that she didn't participate in it, she didn't initiate it, she didn't encourage it, and it was kind of a burden on her. And that was shameful as a woman and as a wife. Now, what about Owen? His shame was in feeling that he was over wanting, like excessively wanting sex, and that it was abnormal, almost like he was a sex addict, just for wanting it more often and asking for it or trying to arrange it or being seductive or whatever. And that obviously was very painful to him because he didn't feel it was overboard. Talking to his male friends, they had the same experiences. And it was very sad for him that just after they got married, when the courting was over, the sexual part of it that seemed to be mutually rewarding and pleasing seems to suddenly fall off. And it kind of made him feel undesirable and unwanted, and that the fact that he wanted it, needed it, tried for it, wished for it, but never forced it, was somehow making him um, undesirable, unattractive, greedy, and that was his shame. So how did they trade it with each other? Well, whenever Owen tried to initiate sex or be seductive or tell her she was attractive and wanting to have alone time with her or have a shower or, you know, cuddle up together, because for him sex was not just about physical sex, it was about affection and caressing and holding and just enjoying their physical proximity, which of course he never had when he was growing up. So it was a very important part of what he felt was a loving relationship should be. And so when she would refuse or tell him he was um, over, putting too many demands on her, it was the wrong time, she was too tired. Um, why do they have to do this all the time? They had it last week, so why do they have to have it again? Then he would feel very ashamed and he would want to curl up and die, because it made him feel just like he felt as a little one, that his mother didn't want to give him affection. She didn't want to put him on her lap and brush his hair or rub his back or hurt him when he scraped his knee or any of those physically comforting things, or just sort of have a hug or an embrace if he was scared or lonely or upset or hurt. Never had any of those things. And so he wanted that with his wife. But when he tried to have it, Esme felt that this was the first gateway towards sex, and so she would resist even the affection. And then, after he would get upset and, you know, withdraw, although she felt relief, a huge swath of shame would engulf her, just like when she was little, when she wanted to be close with her parents, and they couldn't do it because they were in bereavement. They'd lost an important member of their family, and they were grieving. They'd had a stillbirth and they couldn't get over it, and she felt like she had to, you know, not want anything from them. And so she had kind of suppressed her libido, which is also wanting affection and connection physically and comfort. And she'd never really covered it. It became something taboo, because if she ever wanted it, all she would get was rejection, and it would not be safe for her to do so. So when Owen would withdraw because he felt ashamed, Esme would then feel ashamed and try to recover some connection with him, and his hurt was too bad, and then he'd shame her by making her uh, feel like an inadequate woman or a wife. Like, after all, he didn't demand anything, he didn't force it, he wanted her to enjoy it, he encouraged her to buy, you know, look at whatever videos they wanted together, or play around, or just have fun. It was all about fun. It wasn't about the actual sex act itself. It was having fun in a physical way where they could play with each other, which both of them had been denied as infants. And so then she would try to get back, and he wouldn't want to give it, and so she'd feel ashamed. And then at the next time he wanted it, then she'd, you know, bring up all her resistance and shame him for wanting something that she couldn't possibly give, and how he didn't seem to care about her and he only wanted his needs served. So that's how they kind of traded in shame. And it was very, very sad, because they could not have intimacy. They couldn't talk about their needs, which were mutual, but they couldn't talk about their need for affection and comfort and care by sitting next to each other, stroking each other, rubbing each other's backs, all the things they missed out in infancy. Because when they were adults in a mature adult relationship, it became the gateway to sex, so it became overridden by sexual taboos and what it meant for each one, as opposed to giving each other love and comfort and security and playfulness and making each other feel wanted. So if you have this going on in your relationship, think about what you missed out on as an infant, and the playfulness of it, and the comfort and the connection you get from touch, and make it about touch, and don't make it so much about sex. And you might then have some way of connecting physically that's mutually rewarding and safe above all, where you don't have to trade in shame in order to feel safe or in order to feel righteous. See you next time.